Welcome back to the news at 10. Let's take a look at some of the pictures sent in to our eyewitness portal. Beginning in Lafia, Nasarawa State, showing a piece of land washed away by floods and agents of denudation. Residents are calling on the state government to fix the gully before the damage spreads. A similar story happening on Oseni Street in Ika North area of Delta State, showing the effect of a gully erosion. Residents there are also calling on the state government to stop the spread. We head on to Okene in Kogi State, where our next picture comes. As we can see there, no details of the cause of the traffic gridlock, as we can see there. We trace our way back to Lagos, to Orile area, showing a container truck, which our eyewitness reporter says was seen at about 8 in the morning, despite the governor's order that they only move at night. Thank you for sending in those pictures, and please note that you too can be an eyewitness reporter for Channel Television, reporting news and events that happen around you. Nigeria's former petroleum minister, Diezani Alison Madueke, who was arrested in London and granted bail on Friday, may be returning to the London Magistrate Court tomorrow. She was arrested by the National Crime Agency along with 4 other people and is being investigated by alleged bribery and money laundering. Mrs. Alison Madueke was petroleum minister between 2010 and 2015. She denied any wrongdoing when accused by the then central bank governor, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who is now the emir of Kano, for alleged misappropriation of $20 billion oil money. Recently, President Muhammadu Buhari vowed to trace and recover what he called mind-boggling sums that had been stolen from the oil sector. He has also promised to prosecute those behind the theft. Let's take this further now. I'm being joined here on the news at 10 to discuss the progress made by the federal government's anti-corruption war by Dr. Yemi Oke. He's a lecturer at the Faculty of Law at the University of Lagos. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what do you make of the president's anti-corruption war so far?
I would say it's impressive. Impressive in the sense that you could say a shifting paradigm, definitive steps being taken to engage corruption. I've always argued about the supply side of corruption. Previously, we've been trying to deal with corruption, only trying to deal with the effect, and as against trying to take it from the kind of bottom up. I've always advocated challenging corruption from the supply side. We know the mainstay of the country's economy, which is the petroleum industry. We really need to tackle corruption in that sector in terms of how much crude is lifted, to who subsidy, all kinds of corruption in that sector. And for once, the president made a definitive has taken a clear step. There was a kind of a declaration of intention. Declared an intention to tackle corruption in the petroleum sector, of course.
So it does make sense that he would go after the person who headed the sector.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And again, we see a kind of reform, a gradual reform in the NNPC with the new person on board. Those are the sector actors, so say experts in the sector. We've seen all those, and again we've seen an appeal by the president just at the just recently concluded UN General Assembly, where the president appealed to the global conscience that they should discourage looters or corrupt persons from bringing their looted funds.
In other words, what London has done actually shows that they have good faith in the president.
Definitely, not only London, it's a global trend now. They're all trying to assist the federal government. But
yeah, but this will encourage other countries.
The flip side of it, right, though, is that now that the former petroleum minister is being investigated to be tried, there is also the human rights side of it, the rule of law, and there is also the argument, which is being canvassed by some of us, that the Trinity sector, which is the energy sector, energy is not only about petroleum. We should deal with the wrought in the energy sector. And we're talking of energy sector, you're talking of the petroleum sector, you're talking of the gas, you're talking of the power. And that is why we should avoid playing needless politics with the ongoing probe of funding in the power sector, the previous administration. Of course, the executive is doing something. Of course, also we are noticing a kind of activities at the level of the legislature or collaboration towards the same objective, dealing with corruption in the country.
Okay, I don't want us to deviate much from the main story tonight, one of the main stories tonight, which is that the former petroleum minister will be appearing at the magistrate court in London tomorrow. Yeah. What can we expect to happen in court as she appears?
Well, it's too early to expect any serious outcome. We expect a kind of maybe a formal arraignment. Now, there's also the argument that, of course, she should be repatriated to the country to come and face formal allegation or charges in the Nigerian court. Of course, all those options are still there. We don't know for now what's going to happen.
But can we do that? Can we do that? Can we request a repatriation?
Of course, countries always sign onto this agreement, of course, to reciprocate that kind of stuff. So there's a bilateral agreement between Nigeria and UK. Of course, that is even the reason why she was arrested in London in the first instance. And we've seen incident of that. Of course, Ibori, Hangu, and even Alamesia. Of course, those cases started from the United Kingdom based on collaboration in terms of anti-corruption. Anti-corruption really is no longer a domestic issue. Of course, there are tons and tons of international conventions against corruption, and most of these countries sign on to these conventions, and they are not only morally obliged, they are legally obligated to assist requesting countries in doing this kind of stuff. And to that extent, it's just a step in the right direction. Globally, it's a global challenge. If thieves run away from the UK and then Nigeria, there's an obligation, international obligation, part of Nigeria to arrest them and send them back to the requesting country.
If you had the opportunity to choose, which would you prefer? That she be tried in London or here in Nigeria?
I'll say Nigeria.
Why?
Thank you very much. The reason is simple. Over there, of course, she's going to be taken before a magistrate court. When you talk of the jurisdictional, there are a lot of jurisdictional issues. In Nigeria, magistrate court, if somebody gets taken before a magistrate court for this kind of offense, of course, they are limited in terms of the penalty they could impose. Of course, most of these, the jurisdiction of magistrate court has to do with the number of, the amount of punishment, imprisonment, and fine they can impose. I don't really think, at best, maybe the magistrate court there is going to make a ruling saying, oh, take this suspect back to the requesting country, which is Nigeria. And one thing is not quite clear. Maybe there is not a clear request from the Nigerian government for her to be tried here. Unless that is done, she's not going to be sent here. If there is a formal request from the requesting country, now Nigeria, to the arresting country, the United Kingdom, then she could be sent down here for trial. But I always indicate both the rule of law, human rights. Justice is a three-way traffic. Justice to the accused person, she's got it right. Justice to the prosecutor, and justice to the larger society. So the ends of justice cannot be sacrificed on the altar of trying to please either of the parties. So there must be justice across the board. And that's when even the international community will applaud Nigeria. So at best, she's still a suspect, no matter the level of suspicion, even if it's glaring that something wrong happened. But then in law, she's still a suspect. She's got all the rights within the law to be protected and be treated as innocent, of course, until proven guilty. Dr.
Yemi Oke, thank you so much for joining us tonight in this very interesting discussion. I've been speaking with Dr. Yemi Oke, a lecturer at the Faculty of Law at the University of Lagos. Now, inhabitants of Umweziotutu village in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State are locked in a dispute with the state's judiciary over a vast tract of land. The disputed land is said to have been donated to the colonial authorities in 1910 for the construction of a customary court. The community is, however, accusing the judiciary of encroachment and has demanded proper compensation.
Now you're talking.
The peace of Umweziotutu village, a serene community in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State, has been disrupted. The inhabitants, who are predominantly farmers, are protesting encroachment and excessive acquisition of their land without compensation. According to history, the controversial 40 hectares of land was donated by the forefathers of the community to the colonial masters in 1910 to erect a native court and sub-treasury. This is not going down well with the present generation. They feel their ancestors took the wrong decision.
More than 5 acres of land, most of us are farmers. We don't have where to farm. No other alternative job, no other alternative where to live.
The protest train storms the land in question. They are not pleased with the way things are unfolding.
They took it by force without looking at us, giving us any penny, any sort of compensation. We are all aggrieved.
I get more than 8 farmland, and the whole cassava that is there, they clear it off. For the starting, they are pretending to pay, but later, no cover, no compensation.
Aside from the different courts cited in the land, the people lament that virtually all government institutions on their land have been established there without compensation.
No compensation, no employment opportunity, even when we are better off for the jobs. See, we have been stampeded, we've been oppressed and depressed. We don't know what to do again. That is why we are calling on His Excellency, the governor, our amiable governor. He's a working man. He should give ear to our prayers and listen to us.
Reacting to the accusation, the Deputy Chief Registrar, Anambra State Judiciary, insists the High Court has been there for over a century, having first been established as a native court by colonial authorities.
As far back as 1975, there were also some documents we got from the archives in Ibadan, establishing how the white man, cited that area as Ihiala court area and the rest of them when the issue came up. So our stay in that place is legal and has been there all along.
In the eye of the storm is a son of the soil, a lawyer who the people accuse of conniving with the judiciary to take all their lands. But Mr. Chuks Nsobundu feels the project should be welcomed by his people.
They made a false allegation against me, and I sold my land to the Anambra State government and judiciary. Should I even stop government from coming to build the High Court? All I said is, you did not acquire the place. Ihiala should say luckily that Ihiala is one of them, because there are other people who want that thing to come to their place.
The people of Umweziotutu insist they are not opposing government's decision to acquiring any part of their land for development purposes. What they are saying is that due process must be followed.
Etisala, now you're talking.
Still ahead of the news at 10, Arsenal thrashed Manchester United to move second in the English Premier League. Details coming up in sports news. Please stay with us.